skin and bones. No. So this is why you should remember what the Holocaust did to us. And there is every day any other place a Holocaust. In Yemen, in all those countries, it's unbelievable what human do to human. What was really nice was when my mother came back from work, the women in the barrack, I was their sunshine, let us go to get that food that this lady described so well, that it was black. It was black and it was horrible to eat, horrible, but it kept you alive. What did my mother do? She created a connection with a woman in another barrack that was from her town and said to her, if you could be kind enough and save a little bit of bread or a piece of rotten potato, something for Hanale, I will come and get it at night. Leaving the barrack was a death sentence. You were not allowed to do it. She did it day after day. Every night was the same discussion. Mom, please don't go. Hanale, I have to go. And this was going on as long as we were there. My mother had an infection in her finger, in her ring finger, and the infection started to go bad. So she says to me, Hanale, I'm going to go to the infirmary and let's see what they can help me. Mama, I'm coming with you. No, you are staying. Mother and daughter both stubborn. She could not give in to me, and I went with her. We went to the infirmary. This I remember. It was a cold, rainy, snowy day. We came to the infirmary, and the woman looked at the finger, and she says, I can't do much about it. The only thing that I can do, I can chop it off. So my mother says to me, Hannah, go out. I said, Mom, I know it's going to hurt. I'm going to stand next to you and hold your hand. She had no choice. They chopped it off. Yeah, I get the chills like you each time I talk about it. They chopped it off, and she looked at me with her angel face and says, it really didn't hurt. What are you going to say to that? Nothing. We went out, she put some bandage, she survived. If it would not have been chopped off, she would have been dead today from the infection. One other thing. We were walking, you were allowed to take a walk in Auschwitz around the crematoriums, and the smell of the burning bodies was incredible. And I said to her, Mommy, what are they doing here? Why does it smell so bad? So she said, they are burning rubber. A few Yentas in the neighborhood said, oh no, they are burning Jewish people. So my mother looked at me and she says, I'm sorry, I lied to you, they are right. But I wanted to save you. But you know, I always tell you the truth. And she really treated me from day one like a grown-up. And this helped because I could participate in her plan to be invisible. Another story was one day, as this lady was telling you, was an appel. Mr. Mengele, I call him, and they call him the angel of death. He is really the devil of death. There was nobody in this world with an education like he had, from a very good family, from high society in Germany, that had all those things. I met last week in the Holocaust Museum one of the ladies that was one of twins. And what she was telling, what they did to twins and midgets and homosexuals, this is unbelievable that this existed. You could, from those experiments, derive a lot of good good things, but he did it only in order to torture the people. So one day we got an announcement into the barrack that Mr. Mengele is coming to check out who has clean skin and who is going to the crematorium. The women stood outside, stuck naked, cold, for 4 hours until he came. My mother wanted him not to see me, so what did she do? She put me here and surrounded all the people around me, so he could have seen everybody, but he couldn't see me. He came and went on right to death, left to the to work. He came to my mother, looked at her skin, and he said, "Your skin really still looks good. I come next time to get you, but not this time." This little girl heard that. She could have screamed, she could have cried, but there was a silence. And until today, that is so many years past, if something bad happens to me, I become like a stone. No reaction, but I pay for it later on. I pay not with money, but I pay with health. And why am I here and doing all this and talking to you? Because I think I owe it. I survived with a mother and a father. My mother lived till 94 in Israel. She saw grandchildren and great-grandchildren. My father survived and lived till 94 in Israel, and so children and grandchildren. Because you are here, you should know that to be Jewish is tough, but you have to be proud of it. They try to eliminate us, and they will never succeed. This was Auschwitz, and in Auschwitz there was one feeling, fear and fear again. You breast feel fear, you were scared and you were scared, but you continued. There are very few Jews or other people that survived Auschwitz or any of the camps. I was lucky, I was just in one camp. Rumors started to come that the Germans are losing, and they collected the people into a march of the Toten March, that's a march of the dead, and they took out the people that could walk. We were left behind, and my mother always did action. She saw the gates open, and she says, "Hanale, let's get out of here." We went out, and we saw from far the Russian army. Not army, but some hooligans that wanted to come and attack us. We fell into a bunker and disappeared. In the middle of the woods, there was a bunker. And we stayed there for a few days until it was completely quiet. We went to Krakow, and in Krakow, they put the urna, not urna, I don't know. It's an organization that was helping the Jews after the war, and everybody went and put their names in. And my mother put their name too. On the other hand, my father survived in Dachau with two of his brothers. They needed people that did furniture and parts of wood, and my father was a furniture maker. And one day he was sitting at the train and waiting for people to come to see, maybe they saw his wife and the child. And one day, it is like one miracle after the other. A man comes down the train and says to him, "Mordechai, what are you doing here? Your wife and your daughter are in Krakow." So my father said, "Come on, don't do that to me." He says, no, I really, truly mean it. They are. So my father said, where are they? On Fifth Avenue. It was called Długa ulica. In Polish, the long street. What did he do? He went to Poland, and the houses were high-risers, and he went for 2.5 weeks from one apartment to another and asked, did you see a blonde woman with blue eyes, and her name is Kozlowski. He continued the Polish name because after the war in Poland, a lot of Jews got killed by Polish people out of love to the Polish, out of love to the Jews. They continued killing us. I myself, with my mother, I remember like today, went to 2 funerals. He went for 2.5 days from one place to another until he got one day to the place that we lived and rang the bell. By ringing the bell, they opened the door, so the women there said, it must be the milkman bringing milk in the morning. My mother heard my father's voice, and he started the whole Megillah, my blonde woman, and she fainted. We came in, and we stayed in Germany for a while, and then we went to Israel, and my children were born in Israel. And in 2005, my husband and me and the children and the grandchildren went to Auschwitz and to Romania. My husband was Romanian. And we did the routes like coming back. What was very rewarding in Auschwitz was there was a group of Jewish people with children with a Jewish flag, and on the other side there were older grandfathers, Polish people, and they were telling the story from their side. The German killed them, they were the poor ones, they were persecuted. Everybody was telling another story. So there was a whole group of youngsters from Belgium, and a Polish woman was telling them what happened, and my husband got mad. He said, she does not know what she's talking about. You go and talk to them. I said, I'm not going to talk to them. Okay, but he decided I talk, so he went and he shut them up, and I had to tell them what happened. And after many years, I met one of the women from Auschwitz in an airport, and she came to me, she recognized, and she said, you were the one that told the story from Auschwitz, the right. So my husband was right. So this is the end, and most of the people that survived the Holocaust are successful, hard workers, and are proud to be Jewish. So I hope that from all of those stories that you heard today, you are going to continue to be strong children, okay?
I'm going to ask the question, is that okay? Okay, so the question that we have is, have you ever returned to the town where you grew up, and what was that like? You started to answer that, Hannah, but we'll start with Harry.
I've been back to Brussels many times. Brussels is a beautiful city. I've been back to Brussels many times. Brussels is a beautiful city. It's actually where French fries were born. Most people think they came from France, but they came from Belgium. And if you ever see someone eating French fries and dipping the fries in mayonnaise, you know they're from Belgium. One thing I just wanted to add, because I was anxious to pass the microphone to this lovely lady here earlier. What I neglected to tell you is that my father was sent to a POW camp outside of Hanover, Germany. 5 hours before the Allies liberated the camp, the SS guards machine gunned all the prisoners. so my father was killed then. One person, one prisoner fell under the bodies and lived to tell the story. And I'm asked very often, why did they do that? Well, the reason they did that is there had been an agreement, the Geneva Convention, where prisoners of war had to be treated a certain way, had to be fed, had to be given medication when they became ill. Well, that particular POW camp, as well as many others, they didn't do that. They used to torture the prisoners, they used to beat them, they didn't feed them, they did not provide medical attention. I was told that out of original population of 5,000 in that particular camp, only 700 lived to the end of the war, and then were machine gunned. So I'm sorry I went off on a tangent over here. Wasn't really the answer to the question, other than my telling you that yes, I've been back to Brussels many, many times. The problem with Brussels today, for those of you who have visited it lately, is that a large portion of the city now has been taken over by Muslims, and Muslims are not necessarily bad. However, there is a group of Muslims in a suburb of Brussels who were very much involved in the Paris attacks. And it is a breeding ground for ISIS today. So I hate to tell you, but my beautiful city is no longer what it was.
I myself was never going back to Hungary. I never had a good remembrance after, during the war. So I know I wouldn't find anything what we worked so hard. So I was never back. And I don't think I would ever go back.
I told you before, on 2005, we went back to Auschwitz. We went back to the town that I was born. The reception of the town that I was born was cold as ice. They were afraid that I'm coming to take back the properties that my grandfather left behind. Until today, we didn't get the properties back. And my husband went back to Bucharest, and his parents were owners of a very big factory of silk, and my husband worked on it for 10 or 12 years, and he recouped it. And this was the only time that I went back to Auschwitz, and to Romania I went back many times, and to Poland I never went back, because the memories and the hatred in their eyes, I would never step a foot on it. I gave up on the properties too.
On behalf of everyone in this room, I know I can speak straightly from the heart. Just thank you so much to each and every one of you for telling your story, for helping to educate, and most importantly, to make sure that we never forget. I do have 3 students who are going to come and join me as we present some flowers. I have to make mention, Harry was actually originally coming with his wife today, who we truly appreciate. It's actually her birthday, so you can share the flowers with her.
Absolutely. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
At this point, I'm going to turn it over to Rabbi Kornblit and Cantor Sokolov.
נשרפו ושנהגו שמסרו את נפשם על קידוש השם וגן עדן תהא מנוחתם לכן בעל הרחמים הסירהו בסקר כנפיך לעולמים צרו בצרו החיים את נשמותיהם אדוני נחלתם